Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Good morning. It's a beautiful mid-September day in 2021. You can do this trading thing. You really can. It's not as difficult as it seems to be. The reason maybe you're having some issues is because you've got too much information. I mean, when I started learning, look, I had a background in real estate, 40 years, 33-year career as a senior software engineer, physics degree, almost a minor in math. I had all the information in the world. I knew how to solve complex problems, and that's why I approached the currency trading that way. I approached it as a complex problem, and it's not. And that's why I failed, because I looked at all the videos that were out there, these people claiming to be successful or whatever it is that they were doing. I just got information and information. I got so much information, I knew everything there was to know about it. And I still lost a lot of money. I lost all my money. Well, it was in the account. Until I stepped back from it and used my own analytical skills, I wouldn't have been successful with it. And I still have problems. I admit that. I just did a video about that regarding good habits can sometimes become bad habits, and some of the 40 years of instinctive rules and development and stuff that I have through my real estate background as an investor don't play well in the currency markets, whether it's long-term or short-term stuff, because I started off as a long-term trader. So it isn't that there's anything out there that you can't learn. It's that you're trying to probably learn too much. Yeah? You have to look at, if you're going to learn how to drive a car, and Dad sticks you behind the wheel and says, okay, we're going out on the freeway, you're going to crash that car because of all the information that's out there. You can't pick up what's important. You see the stop sign, but you get so much stuff going on in your mind that it doesn't register that, boom, stop sign means stop. That's a very important thing that you do. Yield is a very important thing that you should know. You're running out of gas, that's an important thing that you should know. But if nobody's there to filter out all that excess noise, how are you going to figure that out for yourself? How are you going to do that watching these videos out there from people who don't really even know what they're doing, and they're telling you what to do? They're telling you to use these indicators and all this other kind of crap, and you're going, oh yeah, that indicator looks good. That guy says he's using it, it's successful. Here's a guy over here, and he's using it successful. First of all, they're probably not successful at all, but regardless of that, you pick up 3 indicators and you try to apply them in your trading, and things don't work out, they go to shit. Do you realize that you think you're only working with 3 things, but you're not? If you have 3 objects, you can combine those in 15 different permutations. If you have 2 things, you have 4 permutations. You have object A and object B, right? I've said this a gazillion times, sorry. You have A, you have B, you have AB, and you have BA. 4 things out of two objects. If you have 3 things, you've got 15 ways that you can order those. If you have 5 things, you're 325 with just 5 indicators. 325 different permutations you can put those indicators in. That's way too much information. Even 3 indicators is 15 permutations, and that's too much information. And indicators don't work the way they're being taught anyway. Can you use indicators? Sure you can, when you know how to trade. But you don't learn how to trade by using indicators. God almighty. Folks, this is not that tough. You need to learn the plumbing. I call it the plumbing. What's a pip? What's a trend line? What are the hours the market is open? How do you run a trading platform? Place an order. What's the difference between a limit order and a market order? That's the plumbing. You go to babypips.com for that. You can learn all that shit for free. Do you realize that 90% of the educators that are out there are charging you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 or more to learn what a pip is and how to size your bank. This is the stupidest, that's not fucking education, that's information. You can look that stuff up in a dictionary. If you're going to pay somebody to teach you to trade, don't pay them to teach you what a pip is. God almighty. They're not capable of teaching you how to trade because they don't know. 3/4 of them are lying to you and they don't know how to trade. Probably another 10% just got, 15% got lucky. They ran through a minefield and they didn't get blown up, and so they think they're a freaking expert about running through minefields. They're going to call you and teach you how to run through a minefield. That makes a lot of sense, right? Come on, step back from this thing and look at it objectively. What are you trying to do? You're trying to not lose money. Because if you don't lose money, then guess what? You must be making money. So that's the only thing that you have control over is your risk, right? You don't have control over how much money you're going to make. You don't have control over whether the price is going to go up or go down, or it's going to go into a friggin' flag path. You don't have any control over that. But you do have control over your risk. So why are you not starting with that instead of starting with some other stupid thing? Well, look. Make it simple. If the risk is the only thing you have control over, and that, as Jesse Livermore said, the only way to get a real education in the markets is to invest your cash, track your results, and learn from your mistakes. So what environment would give you the most opportunity in order to learn from your mistakes? Out on a daily chart? Out on a 4-hour chart where everybody's teaching you it's so safe out there? You're going to learn to fucking trade out on the 4-hour chart? Really? How many times a month are you going to trade on the off the 4-hour chart? You might trade a couple of times a week, 8 times a month. I can trade 8 times a day on the 5-minute chart. I'm given 12 5-minute candles an hour on the 5-minute chart. I can learn a lot of what not to do. I started trading out on the longer term charts because that's what everybody is saying you do, because it's safe. Man, I don't want to be safe. I want to learn what not to do. And so, because the only thing you have control of over is your risk, then you want to hit that risk as many times as you possibly can so that you can learn what not to do. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll bet that makes more sense than anything you've heard. Now here's where your guts come in. If you really have a passion for trading, you got to do it the right way. You're going to have to drop down and learn this stuff on the short-term charts, because what you learn on the short-term charts, you can migrate up to the longer-term charts. What you learn if you learn how to trade on the longer-term charts is not migratable back onto the short-term trading. And that's why all the guys that are out there doing long-term trading think that the short-term folks are exposed to more risk. If that was the case, guys, then why, when a major Forex broker did an analysis of 43 million of their client transactions, did they find that 90% of the traders lost 90% of their money in 90 days? Why is that happening? Because they're all learning this shit up on the longer term charts, and they're not being given an opportunity to fail so that they can learn what not to do. In the particular currency pair that I'm trading, the 5-minute candle has an ATR of 5 most of the time. So if I set my stop at 8 pips, everybody screams, "Oh, it's too short." It's an ATR and a half. Yeah, but 8 pips, man, the price is moving around. Well, yeah, of course the price is moving around. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing and jump ball, you're going to get that 8 pip stop hit. So the thing is, once you learn that, you have to start learning what entry theory is all about. And then you have to learn what are the characteristics of entry theory that I need to know that are important, not just how to place a trade and Bollinger Bands and all the other kind of crap. What do I need to know in order to make that price have a high probability that it's going to go up instead of coming down and hitting my short stop? If you trade a mini account, It's $1 a pip, yeah? So if you lost 8 pips 100 times, you'd lose $800. You'd still have $200 left over. Don't you think that you'd learn what not to do after losing 100 times in a row? Isn't that cheap education? It costs you $800. Maybe you just don't get it. Maybe you don't understand what the next step is that you take after you've accumulated all these losses. Now you know what not to do. Now you got to figure out what to do. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to figure that out, you can ask somebody and you'll say, this is what I've done and it's not working, but I've tried this and it didn't work, and I've tried that and it didn't work. The person who knows what they're doing can then help you and say, oh, have you thought about doing this? And you go, really? big fucking chief. All right? And then it'll make sense to you. Well, that's an important thing. What to do? If you want to dig a potato out of the ground, there's a lot of dirt and shit that you got to move around before you get that potato. And if you're trying to dig with your bare hands or whatever, you're going to scuff up your hands and rip your nails off until you figure out that there's a tool you can use to get it out. Everything has a process that's associated with. If somebody can be successful doing something, you can be successful if you could figure out what they were doing to be success. The problem here in studying currency trading is you can't figure out from watching YouTube videos who's shitting you and who's not. How do you know what information is important? What are you going to do when everybody is saying you need more information? What are you going to do when these indicators, they look really appealing to you, and you put them together and you've got 15 different possibilities you can put them in, and you have no clue as to what's going on? No wonder you're going to lose your money. But you're never going to learn what not to do by doing it that way. If you want to do this stuff on your own, open a $1,000 account, a mini account, trade for $1 a point, open your platform, look at the chart configuration. You know what a resistance line is, or a zone, right? Look at where current price is, and if there's a resistance zone that's 20 pips or more above you, that's the first thing that you want to know. How do you know if you've got that 20 pips available to you? Use a stupid resistance, supply and resistance boundary lines, okay? You learn how to draw those on baby pips. Is that right? No, that's not right, but it's the first step that you could take. So you identify that as a 20 pip, that you've got a potential of 20 pips. Well, is the majority of the candles moving upward, so that you have confluence with the prices moving up, and so you could take an upward movement? You could add that in to your analysis. The question is, do you look at the hourly or the daily chart if that's going up, or do you look at the 5-minute chart that you're trading on as that? Well, that's a complexity. Well, don't worry about the complexities. Take that first thing. Here's 20 pips. Okay, so I'm going to go long. And you're wrong. You lose 8 pips. You try it again. You lose 8 pips. Try it again. Lose 8 pips. Do it 100 times. Don't you think you'd be able to figure something out after 100 times? Don't you think you would have won a few of them just by jump ball pure luck? Don't you think that after 100 trades you'd be able to differentiate? You've done this thing 3 times and it was successful, but it doesn't appear to be repeatable, or it doesn't appear to be something that you could predetermine. So you toss that out. That's not going to get you there. If you're trying to learn this stuff from courses, from people that are teaching you what you can learn for free on baby pips, you're wasting your money. People out there charging you $2,000, even some of the ones that are a $300 price or a $500 price. That's very compelling to spend that money. Geez, you could get out on Udemy and pay $50 for 6 episodes. That's what they are. 6 episodes for $50. How to trade foreign currencies. This is a pip, this is a trend line. Price goes up, price goes down. This is a candle, this is a wick on a candle. Who the fuck cares? You can pay $50 for that? It's just not worth it. I'm trying to save you some money. If you watch my video channel and you benefit from that, and you end up making a tremendous amount of money, send me a check, okay? I'd be pleased to get your money from you for that. Because you can figure this out. You can do this trading thing. You really can. You just got to separate out all the clutter. And you got to get rid of all the information out there that's so abstract. Look at the problem as a problem. I'm trying to get my order, my position, from here to here. I've got 20 pips to do that. So it could go up 3 or 4 pips and come down 3 or 4. It could go up 8 or 10 pips and it could come down 8 pips again. So there's room to move. But you have to have enough juice in that price to get it to move far enough so that when it comes back 8 pips, it's come back 8 pips and you're still left with a 5 pip profit. It doesn't start off dropping 8 pips. You got to figure out the trick. That's all it is. That's all it is. So you can do this. You can do this trading thing. I have faith in you because I've got faith in myself. I saw the dark side of it. I watched all these videos. It cost me $50,000 trusting these people that were putting this information out. So I'm here to tell you for fact that what you're watching on most of these channels is bullshit. I've got a degree in physics, almost a minor in math, 40 years as a real estate investor, 33-year career as a senior software engineer. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I didn't just drop off a truck, and I can tell bullshit from bullshit. Really. Don't fall for that stuff. Do it on your own. Go to Baby Pips and learn what I call the plumbing. Learn the plumbing. The next step up is the mechanics. This is what you do. This is the plumbing. Now, how do you use it? That's the next question. How do you use a candle size, an ATR? How do you use a trend line? So you've got the what and the how. But there's a third component, and that's the when. What, how, and when. And that's where you do when I teach, I call that process-oriented trading. I wrote a course on that. Process-oriented trading. But it makes no sense to you if you don't really have an understanding of the plumbing and of the mechanics. I don't know, I haven't taken enough of these courses or talked to enough people to say that. I'll speculate and say 90% anyway of the courses that are out there are only teaching the what and the how. They are not teaching that other component, that when part. And when isn't just like, oh, when they fire the gun, that's when we dive off the board or the side of the pool. That is not quite that simple. Process is not simple. It's a complex thing that you need to learn how to break down into its simple components to facilitate what you need to get out of it. That's what a trading plan is all about. And a trading plan breaks out the strategic approach that you have under various conditions. What are the various conditions, Peter? Tell me. Well, it's either going to be trending or you're going to be in a chop. That's all. You got 2 strategies for that. And then, corresponding to that, you have some tactics involved in each one. Some of those tactics may use indicators. But there's caveats to all of that stuff. But you don't need to know any of that. First, learn the what. Go to babypips.com for free and learn that. How do you use that stuff? Well, I don't know. Open your trading platform out and practice trading and flopping around. Then you learn how to use a trend line. You learn how to judge candle size and ATR and all that other kind of stuff. And then when you get ready to trade, you got a simulated account there. Take your $1,000 and trade. Fiddle around with it. Make sure that you understand order flow and you take the trade and it always goes down where you're trying to go long. Well, why is that happening? Just figure that out. Don't try to trade. Try to figure out the process of trading itself. Well, once you know the plumbing and the mechanics really well and you understand the operation of your trading platform so you don't make a mistake and hit a market order instead of when you really want to do a limit order, right? then take $1,000 and open a real account and get on with it and do what Jesse Livermore said, which the only way to get an education in the market is to invest your cash, track your results, and learn from your mistakes. You can do this trading thing. You really can. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.